in the country called Uganda. Now, we know that for some reasons, people end up in prisons. Some as remandees, others are even convicted and serve their sentences. However, how safe is the security of the inmates and these prisons as an institution? Just to remind you, we have 266 prisons in Uganda. Now, these prisons altogether have 76,422 inmates. Don't forget, as of this morning, this is current information. But don't forget that they should be having a capacity of about 20,000. But because of congestion, they have a huge number. Now, they're in 19 regions, and as of today, we have 14,843 prison staff. These are the people that ensure regarding welfare and security of our prisons. You must know that in case you visited some prisons, there was one I visited, my guest will let you know. And when I reached there, I also doubted. I asked the person I went with that, but is this a prison? It didn't have a wall fence. It didn't have a gate. There's just a eucalyptus tree put there and a prison warder with a gun standing there. So I told my colleague, don't remove that log. We have to wait, and they opened the gate for us. The gate was poor. So they removed this pole, and we were welcomed into the prisons and discussed whatever I wanted to handle. Now, last week, Thursday, the spokesperson of Uganda prisons issued a press release on theft of 4 AK-47s and 116 rounds of ammunition. Who will ever forget the Moroto escape, where prisoners escaped, and it was a hard time for security to ensure they recover them, the weapons and all that. Now, joining me on set, I have the spokesperson of the Uganda Prison Services, that is Frank Baine. You're most welcome, Frank.
Thank you, Robert, and dear viewers. I think, Robert, I should give you a prison's uniform. You understand prisons even much better than me. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. So, because you have elaborated, yes, you know, one of the biggest accountabilities we give at every prison and at every time is to inform the public or whoever approaches us the numbers of prisoners we keep, the numbers of staff, because that is the best and easiest way to keep the transparency of work. Because you cannot have a person you don't know you have. That becomes it doesn't augur well with us, and that's why we are always giving these numbers. And yes, the numbers are high, but going by the topic, of course, when we talk about safety and security, we look at a number of things, like you have said. We are looking at the numbers against the infrastructure. We are looking at the security systems around. Like that prison you visited must have been what we call the low security or open prison. Because we have 3 categories of prisons. We have what we call maximum security. And in the category, I think now we have about 5 or 6 prisons. That is the Upper, Chitaria, Jinja, Mbale, and Mbarara. Then we have what we call high security. Then those are the Chigos, the Aruas, the Gurus, the Lira, according to the category and the magnitude of the people they are keeping. Then we have low security. Low security are open prisons, and basically they are keeping what we call minor offenders, those who do misdemeanors. You will not find there a capital offender in an open prison like that. Even if he's there as a Roger to be taken to where he qualifies. So normally the security of the prison is determined by the danger this person can cause to others and himself. For example, you cannot get a person like Jamiru Mukuru, who everybody thinks is alleged to be a head of a group that is terrorizing the country, then you take him to Butuntumura. Butuntumura is a prison for these chicken thieves, those who have stolen maize cobs, And even these people have not even traveled. They come from the same villages around. So even if he were decided to run, he has nowhere else to run, but just around. But basically, the biggest tool we apply to manage prisoners is the mind. What we call the dynamic security is what we emphasize. But still according to the categories. And that's why you find that in some of these prisons, you don't need the what? You don't need the fence. Why should you put the fence which you don't need? These people, they need smaller realignment. And they shouldn't be totally detached. You see, some of these hard installations harden the prisoners. And that's why they are meant for the other hardcore, not these petty offenders. And that's why you could say, but is this place safe? Yes, it's safe. And that's why, whether it's open or not, there is a precaution. You know, before this World Education Center in Entebbe, we used to call it the zoo. There used to be a very good word when you would be entering. I have taken long, I don't know whether they removed it. But they used to say, wild animals are very good and friendly. But remember, they are wild animals. Then I would say, but why do you say that? So, in other words, yes, they are good, they are friendly, but there is the other wild instinct that anything can come up. So if you are in a wrong place, you should pay. That's why for us, even if it is open, yes, it is open, but there must be somebody seeing what is going on. That's why you find that, yes, you find a rogue closing the road. It is what you would call the gate, but there is somebody looking at it.
Indeed, there was, and it is funny when I reached there, a friend of mine was like, let's lift this. No,
there is somebody looking at it, and that is it. But because
what was very interesting, just a fun bit of it, he comes as if he's with the questions, who are you, how are you coming? I'm like, but you man, look at this log. I can pass under, I can remove it. But because I'm standing, you have to account. Right, then after that, then he removes the log.
But look at it even this way. Look at, for example, like our entry points in Uganda. Okay, boundaries as per se. You will go to Maraba, everything you have to write, but deliver everything. But just 200 meters away is a bush and a river. But people still use it here.
Which is the official entry.
That's the official. So some of these things, I don't want to call it magic, but like I said, it's the mind. How do you play the mind? As long as the person knows he has been brought because of what he did, that one alone helps him to get confined where he is. But the most important thing is that where we envisage that this person is not a danger to society. Somebody who has stolen the maize cob can't be a danger to society, or can't be a danger to himself. So that's how we have that laxed situation. If you go to countries like Denmark, I think even Sweden, there are certain offenses where you just come, like in Sweden specifically. If you have these pet offenders, you ask when you go and agree when you are free to serve the sentence. You can serve a sentence of 1 year in 3 years. Every time you think you are free, you come and sit for about 2-3 months.
Even here, I think we have community service.
You see, community service, this is exclusively out. But the other one, you come in.
In prison?
Yes, you come in prison. You reduce your sentence. Let's say that somebody is working and he doesn't want to lose the job, yet he has a punishment to do what? To serve. So fortunately, you know, with them, their cards are biometric and they include everything. The moment somebody puts it, swaps it in, he will see everything, the crimes, the state, whether you can move out or not. So time comes, the person drives, parks, he goes in and reduces the sentence. Up to what he has negotiated. After he drives back to the work, like that until he completes the what? The punishment. But for us, we are not that advanced. So what we are still doing, we are still using the analog, but it is still in the same footstep.
Now, that refers to how safe are the inmates.
Yeah.
But now we've had incidents where criminals tend to target prisons to get weapons.
Actually, the criminals are targeting security installations.
Security installations.
Including
but
the
when
army,
we have
including
such,
the police,
yes,
including us.
But when we have such nature of structures, and the people know there are guns there,
of course it becomes easy.
It becomes easy. The prison I'm talking about that I visited, first that came to my mind was not how safe are the prisoners inside there, because I knew once they are locked, but I was, how safe are the warders, how safe are the staff that have guns, they're in such structures where someone is at a quarter guard and the infrastructure is very, so I found that they are rendered vulnerable and more of a target.
Yes, two things here. One of the things you observe is that most of those kind of prisons, we inherited them from the local government prisons. They were meant to restrain tax defaulters, basically. But because of mismanaging the human rights and the human resource, that's how we made the same system. We have been struggling. First of all, when we took them on, the first priority was, can we first eliminate the bucket system, which we successfully did. Then now, the question is, how do we reinforce the infrastructure? Like this Chibuku, of course, Chibuku was a sub-county cell. Now, what happened, those people were not allowed to have guns at the time. And actually, it was common that you would fight somebody with a panga going with 20 prisoners to go and dig. Sometimes even a prisoner would take fellow prisoners. They go and work and come back. So, our biggest challenge is that while the population of prisoners is increasing at 8% per annum, for us, our infrastructure development is at 2% because of the budgetary constraint. Like this Chibuku, of course, the guns where they were kept was not a real armor, which is specified and built specifically. But that one shouldn't be an excuse. That means that on top of that, there must have been some laxity on the administration, and of course I haven't read the report, but the report will reveal who was negligent. For a person to know that this person is the one who keeps the guns, because what was even interesting is that it so happened that the person who was having the key to the armorer was actually in the trading center. So that means the people who came to break here were sure that the person who was in charge was not there. And that those things come from some of these ex-inmates. You know, with them they can become friendly. But they are observing. Remember, they have that criminal mind. So if some people don't put precautions, that's what happens. But one good thing about it, and even everywhere it has happened, the response matters. That's why the guns got lost at around 8 p.m. By 9 a.m., we had recovered 3 of the 4. By 11, we had gotten the 4th and all the bullets.
How could this happen?
Vigilance. Because the moment it happened, we had to involve other security agencies. The police came in, the intelligence came in, the ISO. So it became a joint operation. And those, I think, those who had broken in did not get the chance to get out of the security ring. Because they had to put now patrols around in certain, you know, they call them security rings. Now, these guys must have got scared. Then they kept the guns. Actually, they didn't take them far. They took them like 600 meters away. Then they tried to hide them. But
to wait for a right time to move along with them.
Now, fortunately, of course, it was in a banana plantation. Then the woman who was innocently going to get food realized there was something funny. So she said, what is here? Now, then called in. Of course, the police dog comes. They were quick to see them. And then the police dog leads them to the bar where these people, when they left after hiding, where they waited. The only way they had to disguise is they had to run to the bar.
Yeah, where the scent of the dog.
Where the dog now took them now. So from there, because right now we have 3 people. in custody, of course, including our staff. With him, of course, he was negligent. He had a responsibility. At that time, he was supposed to be on duty. Why wasn't he on duty? You know, whether he had corroborated or not. But of course, that is now the rope is in his neck. The matter will be proved. But by and large, our security situation is very good. That's why in maybe a year or so you get one incident, two incidents. We wouldn't wish to have them. But humanities are humanities. That's why up to now, we still hear of prison breaks in Europe. The other day there was a prison break in Clinton Correctional Facility in America. They have everything, technology or what, but they still get prison break. That tells you that when you are dealing with human beings, anything is possible. Of course, the one of...
But anything is possible.
The one of Karamoja, of course, like the one of Karamoja, that one was a combination of factors. That crisis of COVID, because with them, their armor was well built. The only problem is that they failed to man it, and the prisoners overpowered the staff. And the trouble was that they had just got the news that 4 staff had COVID. And at that time, everybody didn't know what would happen if you have COVID. And at the time they had announced, they had actually told that about 153 prisoners also had COVID. So in that panic, nobody seemed to take charge of what was going on. That's why these prisoners were accessed. Of course, they took 14 guns. We have so far covered 11 of them, of those guns. Because you know one interesting thing about the gun in Uganda, you can steal it today, but you can't keep it for long. Because a gun is not something you will steal to put under the bed. You will steal it, when you take it, it has to be used. And as you try to use it, they will find you and they make sure you get back this gun. And you know, branding these guns has also helped us. That now, when a gun is picked from the criminals, you are quick to say, this gun belongs to this institution. This gun belongs to this institution. That's why you even saw recently His Excellency was insisting that the police, our gun, the guns of police are branded, are marked. The ones of prisons, the same. It's only the one of UPDF because of the specific operations. But he was like, no, everybody's gun must be what? Marked. So that we need to know if we are going to manage crime or to look at where the weakness is, we need to see which guns are more often used in crime. Then two, how do we account for the guns which are lost and captured? Because if you have not marked it, then it means you'll have trouble getting the record. If you we have, let's say, for example, we have over 100,000 guns. Recovering a gun, to go to the records to look for that gun, according to the serial number, takes a lot of time. Yet the other activities. But if it is marked, then you know where to start from. You say, okay, prisoners, this gun came from you. This is its number. Can you look where was it? And that's how, actually that thing has partly also helped in our security. It has partly also reduced the crime. Now, the other security which we have added on, if you have been watching the news, we have now taken on the canine.
As prisons?
Yes. We have dogs, and we are having these dogs right now. We are having them in Chigo, Chitaria, and I think Jinja, for purposes of the reinforced security. That we have the towers and the askaris, but between the perimeter wall and the perimeter fence, then the dog should be patrolling, especially during the night. That is reinforcing security. Then, of course, we are taking it a step further. That as we stock more, we are supposed to enroll, at least at a regional level, there must be a dog which can trace escapes. They just put it, pop, then it runs. Because that is one way of, we think now which we need to do to further reduce on the escape. Which actually has gone down. It used to be about 5.2 per 1,000. but now it is 2.1.
But Frank, that having been said, when we look at the number of prisoners, yes, we know finances are there. There is scarcity of finances. But this also is a bit outrageous. And I wonder, and I want to commend you, the various wardens and men and women in the Uganda prisons, for a job well done. Because you look at first, the infrastructure is not enough. You're supposed to have 20,000, you're having 76,000 plus. Then the staffing
is also very down. Yeah. Actually,
compared,
we are at a ratio of 1 to 7, one staff to 7 prisoners, yet the international standard is 1 to 3.
Now, that also is a challenge. And the other blow to it, now you have a high population. Believe you me, when you have little space, but you have huge numbers, that is commotion first. You have low staffing, and you also have sometimes poor infrastructure.
Actually, last week, we had a 3 days regional conference on prison infrastructure. It was jointly organized by international community of the Red Cross with the Uganda Prison Service. We had the delegates from over 23 countries, about 15 from Africa, then the rest from the other parts of the world. We are looking at, is the physical infrastructure in Africa, let alone Uganda, moving or adjusting to the general geopolitical changes that we have on the globe. You know, when you look at the prisons, especially in Africa, most of those prisons were built during the colonial days,
yes.
And their purpose were different. Now we are moving to punish from punitive system to correctional system.
They are now correctional centers. Actually, in the developed world, they don't want to hear even you call them prisons. They want to call them correction centers.
Now, the question is Africa moving with the rest of the world in terms of transforming infrastructure? Because when you go to some of these countries, with them, their security, they get these bracelets, they put it on your arm and say, you go. When you reach within the range, it makes an alarm, you come back. But for us, we haven't reached there. Now, when you look at the way the buildings are, the ventilation, the spacing, you know.
Even the security concerns, their towers,
the monitoring
their
system,
gates,
the monitoring system,
the scanners in these prisons, you find them that they are so sophisticated compared to what we have here.
Surprisingly, there will always be incidents which beat security. The other day in Italy, a prisoner was picked by a helicopter. A helicopter came and picked the prisoner. So the most important thing is that, are we aware that we have structural challenges, especially physical infrastructure and prison system? And the answer is yes. So we are not seated down. But of course, where we can't move very fast, we are hurry slowly. And that's why Uganda did 2 things, and they have helped us. Actually, one of the things you call miracle and magic of doing things, the 2 policies we applied have helped us so much. One, dynamic security, that we do the security of engagement, persuasion. Unfortunately, our justice system is so good that you cannot go to court and testify an inmate, even if you told you I killed. That's not the work of a prisons officer. So because of that, we have tended to keep them as a family. We have tended them to engage them. That's why in the whole world, I think we are among the few countries whereby you walk in a prison and you clap and all the prisoners come and surround you. And you talk to them, they clap, you walk away. Others, you have to be with a gun. For us, we don't bring a gun anywhere near a prisoner. That would be very wrong for us. So that kind of...
Actually, in the outer wing.
Yeah, that dynamic, we call them sentries. That dynamic security has become very key. Then, what we call the open door policy. When we come here, we accept open criticism from Chilabo. You are not doing this, you are not doing that.
Still feeding them on church.
Now, that one becomes so good because we all get involved in the management of prisoners. Some few things which can be changed, we change them. Some which are hard, but still we keep noticing. And you know, knowledge is the first step to solving a problem. Do you understand the problem? When you understand the problem, then it is easy to look at the causes of the problem, then you see how to mitigate the problem. And we also thank God that Ugandans are a hospitable country or people, in the sense that we don't have gangs. Because I have gone to some countries, with them they are gangs. And there can be fights.
In prisons,
in prisons, fights like for hours, and then they have to bring their entourage to do that. For us, we don't have those things in prisons. There can be an intimate violence, but that's individual, and it is managed. But that you get gangs, like the other day, so they sentenced 138 mafia group. Now, those ones, wherever they go, they will be a force. They will find another group. Then they now start establishing territory, they start fighting, you know, like that. And we have not reached that far. That's why we are, some of these programs we bring in, like religious empowerment, the counseling, and even the nature, the way we keep our people is good. That's why you'll find that you can go to Guru now, and you find that almost every tribe in this country is represented. You go to Mbare, find the same thing. You go to Arua, you find the same thing. You go to Mbarara, you find the same thing. Now, that kind of
because that
cosmopolitan setup,
where a prisoner can be transferred to any prison in any part of the country,
minimizes gangs as a matter of principle, and that one helps us in our security. But we are like, you are seeing how we are advancing. Some of these things like video teleconferencing, they are helping minimizing the security hiccups in transit.
In movement, yes.
You see, so we are advancing slowly.
Well, allow me to go for a short break now. When we return, Frank will be telling us more of plans to improve some of the gaps that are there that have connection with safety and security of inmates in our prisons. Allow me to go for this short break. We will return.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Uganda Revenue Authority is proud to announce the Taxpayers Appreciation Awards, where URA will recognize and reward the most compliant taxpayers of the year. This event will be held tomorrow, Thursday, November 23rd, 2023, at URA headquarters in Nakawa. Who will scoop the top prize? Catch the proceedings live on URA TV and UBC TV as we salute some of the men and women who are building Uganda. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
In this family, we can't agree on anything. Martha. We can't even agree on what to watch. All the games to play.
Martha.
Ndoza Mulabi, we can't even agree on what to eat. At least the one thing for now we can all agree on, the soap to use. He likes that it's big and lasts long.
Anti-economy.
I like that it keeps my skin smooth. Ate Alina Echovu. And the children like that. It smells amazing. Everyone is happy. Movit soap comes in 4 fantastic flavors. Movit family soap is truly soap for the whole family.
Movit. All day confidence.
Junko. Yo. What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko, I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
but you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to register. Wendy Wanawoli.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break. We are still looking at safety and security of our prisons in Uganda. Just remind you, we have 266 prisons in this country. Now, these have different categories of prisoners, and this determines how they are termed. They will tell you maximum security and all that Frank talked about earlier. But of course, we've seen incidents, not so rampant, but they have still occurred, where we've had prisoners escape, where we've had guns being stolen, where we've had actually communities sometimes also living in fear, more so in a time now that we have these terror threats here and there. Recently, we had the guns that were stolen from Kibuku prison. The good news is that they were all recovered, and all the 116 ammunitions recovered. In just a twinkle of an eye, security was able to come across that. And of course, I can't say that when you talk about affairs, one would strongly believe that with the hand of God leading. Because Frank, when I look at some of these situations, yes, you say you have strong policies, we have security, but for sure, there's a mighty hand of God over this country when it comes to some issues regarding security. Now, let's look at the measures you've put in place, Frank.
Well, of course, the other thing which you also have to mention, crime, it keeps on evolving. For example, when you look at the aspect of terrorism, behind there, the things of treason were minor. But when terrorism came in, it changed very many things. Because you see, you are keeping a person who has a death wish. You know, naturally, man doesn't want to die. Even when they are preaching about heaven and the like, basically, the person knows heaven is good, but the person doesn't want to die. But when you bring in the component of terrorism, the person is ready to tie himself with bombs and go and kill. The person is promised that the more people you kill, is the more you have happiness where you are going in heaven, those 7 virgins and the like. Now, that changes the connotation of the way we look at things. That's why, thanks to this United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, we have been building capacity on what we call de-radicalization of violent inmates, violent prone inmates, including especially those terrorists. The measures are as many, but of course we still need to make more. One, when you improve the reporting system, then you know most of these things is that the reporting system helps you to identify gaps very fast, and you bridge them. But even in case of an occurrence, the response becomes almost spontaneous, and then it minimizes damage. That's why, like, when this Chibuko happened, quickly, the response was quick,
You noticed guns are missing?
The guns were missing, other, and also being open. Because if we had kept quiet and said, let's keep quiet, this is a prison matter, others should not know, these guys would have taken advantage and gone. But for us, the instructions are like, when a problem happens, please report. Inform the police, inform the ISO, DISO, inform headquarters, then everybody is informed. If there is a military barracks, even in Moroto, by the way, if you noticed, even the Moroto, the gunship had to come. That was because of the report. But of course, because of the terrain, that's why the situation was different. And these were people running from inside. So, but like this one, the spontaneous response to the problem we detected is what has actually helped us to recover these guns. Of course, there was one time we had an incident also in Impiji where a female prisoner was on WhatsApp, and the thief came and stole the gun from her because it was aside. But of course, in other now operations, the gun was what? Recovered. We even had an interesting scenario about like 5 months back, when the prisoner, they were going to dig. They overpowered the staff and grabbed the gun. Now, but then we put the vigilance, informed the joint security, we started patrolling. Now, the person who had the gun failed, even he couldn't go home, he couldn't use it, so he was stuck. He moved from Urumut Cow in Kitugum, he took himself to Padel with his gun and uniform. Then he reported himself, said, me, I have come back. I have tried to move. I can't go anywhere. Please have your gun. Let me serve my what? My sentence. So, but that I'm trying to explain the interoperability. Quick reporting system involving others in managing situations when they arise. Two, information management system which is being developed day and night is also helping us. If I must tell you, all our maximum level security prisons have cameras.
Okay.
As a supplementary security thing. Like Ruzira and Chitaria, the Commissioner General does not even need to call the OC. He is monitoring from his office. Headquarters is seeing what is happening in Imbare now, and what is happening in Apa, what is happening in Chitaria. You see, that is information technology, which is easing the what? The work. Say, where is this one going? So that when we put in this, then it helps. Like I said, doing this video teleconferencing minimizes security gaps. In transporting prisoners. You are not worried that somebody can intercept. Though
we've been lucky in Uganda, because this happened in many developed countries where a caravan or a car transporting prisoners intercepted, prisoners are stolen.
And of course, because we don't have gangs. You know, in most cases, when you arrest the members of the gang, the remnants organized to rescue their people. So that's why crimes in Uganda are still being committed by small groups. And because sometimes when they make the mistakes, they are all picked at the same time. But even those who are not picked don't have the capacity to operate independently to come and rescue. And that's why we find that most of the escapes, actually almost all,
none has been aided by
it comes individual. From inside. They are from inside going out, not outside coming to assist. Apart from getting a knife and you hide it in soap, you get a nail and put it in bread, you know, like that. But still, it has to be organized from inside out. We don't have this outside. But still, now that we have terrorism, you can't rule it out. If you have been following what happens in Somalia, these guys, they have a very robust security thing. But once in a while, these guys paint their cars, come and invade them and attack. Simply because Al-Shabaab, they operate as a gang of terrorists. And that's why we say that when we do video teleconferencing, then we are minimizing the gaps in what? in
transportation of this.
We also, you are minimizing problems for people storming the court to rescue their people. Now, then, of course, the other thing which we are also doing, like I've told you, we have put the canine, we are growing the canine system to reinforce the security. Then, the other measure, which you think is a weakness, by focusing on where it is required to put security, much security, and relaxing where we think this person is not a danger to the community, has eased our work, that in our smallness, we know where to focus. A person who has stolen a maize cob is not even worth shooting, even if he was escaping. A maize cob, which is not even a kilo of maize. A maize cob, which buys a maximum.
The first place why he's in prison.
Now, of course, he's in prisons because that is our judicial system. That is not for me.
Take that one for community service.
Some are, but some they refuse. You know, community service, you have to ask for it.
Yes.
Somebody says, I don't want to ask for it. Yet he has committed an offense, so he has to be punished. That is now for the judiciary. But for us, what we do, we are able to scale. Say, where do we put emphasis? When you go to Chitaria, I can assure you, you will see the towers, you will see the double fences, because we know. When you go to Upper, the same. That's why you will get shocked that when you go to Ruzira, Upper, and you go to Makshoni Bay, which is normally a prison for the business community, and then come to Kampala Remand, they have different systems on the same hill, but different what? Systems.
Now, Frank, before I let you go, still on security, how do you explain prisoners we find that are like, have their liberty? What am I trying to say? You have those that are, you know, some, they even come to trading centers. They buy, there was one we saw riding a motorcycle in Kitugum. When I was at that prison, actually, as I was still moving around, one told me, it seems you're looking for somebody. Take that direction. Say, no, let me even escort you. I had that fear first. I'm like,
this one will strangle me.
This one escorting me. But he did a very good service. And then our whole warden, I wanted paper and something, and said, no. Tomorrow send that one to go. But where do you get this in terms of can't this person connive? He's a prisoner in the community.
We have what we call a stage system. Every stage has what it requires. You see, for us, they call it rehabilitation and reintegration. When you are going to reintegrate the person, you can even look at it. You look at it in this thing of marriage. Have you ever known why there are about 4 or 5 ceremonies before the marriage finally takes place? You are preparing the mind of these 2 young people who are going to start a life they don't know. There is introduction, there is wakuchara, then there is giving the dowry, then there is the giveaway. So you are trying to push somebody step by step until the person reaches the conclusion. Now, in a part of our rehabilitation, there is always a group of prisoners who actually go out. They call it on OC's order. In the technical language, those are what we call at honor stage. Those ones who you know, the man has been serving 15 years. He's remaining with 3 months. Do you think he wants to throw? Yet when you run away, you still get charged and get punished. And even if there was a case of in Ginger, that one I remember very well. A man escaped when he was remaining with 6 months. He hid, but because the person he escaped from missed a promotion, he was rearrested. He escaped from in a farm in Rwimi. Then he was from Ginger. This man got transferred when he was in Ginger. Then this man was arrested for another offense and brought to Ginger. Then the man looked at him and said, I know you. You escaped from me. After over 15 years, to check the record was clear. That guy had now to serve 15 years time at large. 1 year, which was remaining balance. And they gave him 24 months punishment. So, because the prisoners are aware of those consequences.
When you escape and
the time you spend outside, when we arrest you, you are supposed to spend the same time in prison before we go back to the original sentence you left behind. And then you are taken to court to get the punishment for having escaped from lawful custody.
Now, if you escape, say you're sentenced for 15 years, to 15 years in prison. Now you're remaining with 5 years. And then it takes security 10 years
to get you.
To get you.
So it means when we get you, you will serve 10 years time at large. Then you'll get back the other Mauru.
The 5 years, so that's over 15 years.
That is 15. Then still, because you have committed an offense of escape from lawful custody.
Again, you get a sentence.
Court sentence you not exceeding 24 months. So that's how stringent it is. Now, when you see these people walking, it's because they know they have finished the big bulk. What is remaining cannot make them do what? Fail. Yes. But we also discovered that when a person has spent 15 years, very many things have happened. If you let this person open the door and say go, this person will have nowhere to do what?
To start.
To start. So that's why you start giving him, he goes out on OC's order, he goes and buys cooking oil for the staff, he buys the mandas for his fellow inmates, you know, like that.
There's one I found repairing a motorcycle.
A motorcycle, because when he was out, like that one of Kitugum, outside he was the mechanic for the town. Now he defaults on somebody's motorcycle. They get this man, put him in what? In prison. Now, and with him, he says, like, the problem is, I think somebody came and removed the spares. To him, he said he was not the one who removed the spares, but the people he was working with. But because he's the one who was the main person, so they picked him. Now, a police motorcycle got a problem and they need an operation. But they know the man who has been repairing is where?
In prison.
In prison. And this man is not interested in going anywhere because he's not aggressive. He did not even deny that the motorcycle didn't get lost from him. So he comes. They say, hey, can you work? He said, let me do my work. So he works.
So for me, I move with my phone. I'm excited. I take my picture. I'm like Frank.
Yes. And because they...
And you don't know the impact of how far this picture is.
And because you see this person works from a few meters from the prison, he has no reason to want to run away. He runs away for what and where. And that's why. But you know, to somebody curious, it's about now a prisoner on a police motorcycle.
What is happening?
And it makes sense. But you see, that is part of reintegration. To prepare the person to know that, yes, you are here in prison. You can keep on uniform. But start knowing that you are going to be free. He who will run must first stand, tumble, walk, then run. And that's the process we take these people through. So while you are concerned at the security, no, at that time we are sure that it's that. But you will not find a person sentenced 40 years and he's busy walking. Now, if you go to the farms, you will get even shocked that you know, these are like Karamajongs. They are very good guards. They are alert. Now, you'll find the Karamajong has 15 years. Okay, he's sentenced to 10 years for rustling or having a gun. Now, if you take this person to Rwimi, to Mubuku, he had never crossed his village, that area. Even you put him in a bus, you brought him to Mbare to Upper finally to Rwimi. That man does not know even the geographical bearing of where he comes from. So if you tell him that, are you guard here? That man will be even happy. As long as with him he's seated there, he knows he's in the prison, but he's happy to be there. So we are quick to understand that. But can you do that to Baine who comes from Mumbarara and say, you be here and you have 10 years? You will be there 2 days, the third day you will not find me. Because I have everything. So when they analyze, how educated are you? Because by the time they do admission, they have gotten enough information about you. Because remember, at the time you are worried, you have shock, so it is easy to extract all the information about you. Now, then when people start getting to use it, that's when now you start covering on the information. But it's very hard to cover concealed information on that admission process. And that's why it's because of that that if even Namuwongo here, don't even go far. Namuwongo, you'll see prisoners. Of course, in Kampala, we had just a bit. You make the askari to put on civilian clothes to go and see whether these people do what they are supposed to do. But now when you see somebody in a tie and walking, looking this way, we know that this person is actually monitoring these people.
I love those that I heard recently. Thanks, I was able to have some. Thank Uganda Prison Service that you can hire them for digging, doing some work for you.
That is, it is called a gainful employment for these prisoners. And they get...
How gainful is it, Frank?
They get a token from there.
Each day, how much does a prisoner get?
If it is professional work, it is... 30.
No, I'm talking about this one we hire for digging.
Now the smallest amount of money is 500 shillings.
A day?
Per day, as a token of appreciation. To you, you may think that is very small work. But the person who is going to go to the prison and he spends a year without getting a single visitor, that money is very important.
But you give it to them on...
When they need it.
When they need it?
Yeah.
So it's available?
It's available.
But I've had some leave prison and they're saying, you don't give them what they're supposed to get.
You see,
someone records and says, I have my 50,000, then...
Sometimes what I keep telling people, that when these people are getting to prisons, as community, we are condemning them, they are the wrong people, they should be kept there. But as soon as they enter the prison, the community thinks now it is the staff who are monsters, these are angels. To the level that whatever they tell you is gospel truth. Now with them, they are the most right. For us who keep them, we are the most wrong. That's where it changes. And I don't know why. When they are in the community, they are bad. But when they come to us,
Frank,
we become
we're on
bad.
issues of money, of prisoners. Each prisoner I hire, I pay 20,000 per head. This man is going to get 500 shillings. Now we calculate 10 years in prison. If he had had...
Of course, most of those who go to dig can't even have 10 years. Those are the small sentences. But still, I want to tell you, one of these days I will take you to the prison, one of the prisons, and I show you the ledger. That money is registered, that money is used. But what is true is that when you work for that money does not all go to the prisoner who has worked. Remember, there are those prisoners who have not worked, but who may need the services. I keep telling people, we all know the medical levels of our country. There is no government hospital that has enough of what it takes to treat people to the end. Now, but what happens if a prisoner is sick? And maybe the drugs which was sent through the prisoner's headquarters, the drugs are finished. Or those are not the drugs which this sickness requires. That's why you find that like the prisoner, the OC now, has to use from this money to make sure this prisoner gets what? Treated. And that's why they say, if work is done for the management, better management of the prison, it is acceptable. It is in and this one did not start now. It started in that law of the colonialist, the one who brought the prison. I went to Israel some time back. It is these cables for helicopters. They are being done by prisoners. For your own information, 90% of these Chinese you see doing engineering work here, they are prisoners back in China. But when they are here, that's why if you ask them the passports, they don't have. They bring them, the ones who bring them, their passports are under key and lock. But what they are doing is contributing, because you see with them they have a highly centralized system. It's government which makes contracts. So the money goes to the what? To the government. And they are looked after the way they are looked after, but the big chunk of the money has to go to do other things for the government.
Well, I can't believe how time has moved, Frank. I must let you out of here before I land in trouble. Well, thank you so much for your time. No parting shot. Thank you so much, our viewers. We've been looking at safety and security of our prisons, the 266 prisons in Uganda. Well, Frank has assured us that all is well and they are having new initiatives. I'm so excited when you've added the canine unit, something I'm very passionate about, and of course I know dogs do miracles.
And they don't take
trained dogs do miracles.
They don't
They
take-
can dress, they can do anything. Why not have a lovely day? See you tomorrow, God willing, for God and my country. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Uganda Revenue Authority is proud to announce the Taxpayers Appreciation Awards, where URA will recognize and reward the most compliant taxpayers of the year. This event will be held tomorrow, Thursday, November 23rd, 2023, at URA headquarters in Nakawa. Who will scoop the top prize? Catch the proceedings live on URA TV and UBC TV as we salute some of the men and women who are building Uganda. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to register. Wendy Wanawoli.
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education. And this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise for assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us to fundraise for braille machines, slates and styluses, white cane, braille paper, hearing aid, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 0783 91 11 14. Donations from well-wishers are also welcome. Entrance is 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 and a table goes for 1 million shillings. This is sponsored by UBC, Mokisa Inclusive Schools, Mokisa Nursery and Primary School, Herona Hospital, Msafiri Tours and Malia Foundation.
City Market lies in 4 acres of land with a population of about 4,000 registered market vendors who are doing business in this facility. We really appreciate the initiative of the government to come up with this project that is benefiting not only the business community within the market, but the entire community within actually sub-region. When you look at the market previously, the market used to be not like this one. With the market vendors, they used to sell under papyrus reeds. And we used also to ferry our goods, come and sell, then you take it in the stores or elsewhere. But now, due to this infrastructural development, the vendors now, they are able now to sell, cover your goods, leave it there, and you come and get it the next day when it is safe. The safety of our goods and the convenience of doing business has improved greatly. That makes the local community very, very, very happy when they are doing business in the market now. I want to appeal to my fellow vendors and the community, of the entire Chile sub-region, that we need to embrace and support the government so that they continue also bringing us more development in our region.
Actually, Zono Industrial is one of the presidential initiatives which is brought here in Achule land to skill our youth. The skilling is free of charge. What you really need, you have to be within the age of 18 to 35. They don't need any requirements apart from being willing. You have to be willing, and a youth who is willing to get the skills. The courses we have started with only 4. That is tailoring, hairdressing, carpentry, and welding. First intake, we registered 212. We admitted 212 students from 10 administrative units of Acholi. These students, they recruited them from different districts within the Acholi sub-region. If we continue with this cooperation,